Okay. Can you say your name first?
Sure, I'm Corky Buyer.
Okay, Corky, can you talk a little bit about how you got this idea and what this is all about?
How I got the idea was that there have been autograph shows for years and years and years. Everybody has an autograph show. TV, movies, every sport you can think of. The ballet, even the porn industry, I think, has their own autograph show. But rock and roll has never had an autograph show, and it just didn't make any sense to me. And so for the last 7 years, I've asked people why or why not, and I couldn't get an answer. And so since I couldn't get an answer, I thought, why not? And so for the last 2 years, I've been working on it, and today's the day.
And can you talk a little bit about St. Jude? Why St. Jude Research Hospital?
Why St. Jude? I don't want to bore you or go into too much, but when my sister was 27 years old, she died of breast cancer at the City of Hope, which is in Duarte, California. And after all of the treatments and so on, we got a bill from the hospital, and it said paid in full by the City of Hope. And so my family, we went out, and in 1972, we raised $1 million and donated to the City of Hope and so on. And then later on, my mother got cancer, City of Hope, same thing. And I'd always worked for, donated towards City of Hope. I've always tried to do the right thing or to pay it forward. But it became, for me personally, that location became synonymous to death with me. And so I was looking for another place to put my energy. And I saw a commercial about one of the children on TV, and Marlo Thomas, and of course that girl, I love that girl. And so it touched me. And I thought that was a great place to start giving. And when I had nothing, I would, if I had $50 in my pocket, I'd write a check for $25, send it to St. Jude, and put "wish I could do more" in the memo section. And I became a father much later in life. I'm 56, I have a 9-year-old. And all of a sudden I saw St. Jude differently. I saw it as a parent versus before. And the idea of being a parent of a child in need like that, who may be suffering or in fear or whatever, and be helpless, and or not have the money for the treatment, and then what? It scared the crap out of me, frankly. And so that's when I really started stepping it up. Because the thought of my son being in one of those beds, frankly, scares the crap out of me. So that's why St. Jude.
Okay, and how did you go about sort of recruiting these folks? Talk a little bit about who they are, maybe, and then how did you get them?
What I wanted was an absolute cross-cut of rock and roll history. So in this room are 77 artists from the early 1950s, such as Trini Lopez, up to today, such as tomorrow David Ellefson might be here from Megadeth. Let's see. Who else? I mean, it's just Richie Ramone is in the room. I mean, so it's a crosscut, and as well as the girls from rock and roll, the ex-wives of rock, because they were also influential in the words or the meanings of these things that were written, the songs that meant things to us. So I actually went online for the most part and found how to contact these people through their websites and cold called. And there's an autograph show, another autograph show in Los Angeles at the same venue actually, called the Hollywood Show. And it's a great show. It deals mainly with movies and so on. But they're starting to get some music in there as well. And Elliot Easton was one of the guests. And I approached him with the idea of doing the show, as well as the other 5 or 6 that were in the room. And Elliot was really the only one who saw what I was trying to do. And he was the very first person to say yes. And with that yes, it gave me hope. And so it became a numbers game. I figure for every 100 no's, there's a yes. Well, there's 77 yeses, so how many no's was that? And that's really what it was. But it took on a life of its own. Once people saw the list of artists that wanted to participate and so on, all of a sudden the artists started calling me. Their agents and managers started calling me and saying, I hear you're putting on this event. How can we be a part of this? And that's how it ended up. That's the last 20 artists I didn't solicit. They came to me, and it was really quite remarkable.
Great. And can you talk a little bit about the song that Dick is doing, and because we're going to tie that all in.
Well, one of the cold calls was I sent an email to Dick Wagner's email address, and his manager Susie called me back, and I had talked to her on the phone for probably 5-6 minutes, explaining what I was doing and so on. And I had no idea that she was really into St. Jude's. And so she says, I'll talk to Dick about it. Can I get back with you tomorrow? I said, sure. So she calls me back the next day. She says, well, Dick and I talked about it. We'd like to do the show, but would you mind if Dick actually writes an original song for the event, and we can have the artist sing it and so on, and then donate the song to St. Jude with the video and so on, that the people can download. It's just another source of revenue for St. Jude. But it's a song that is obviously from Dick's heart, obviously with some input from Susie, and it's a really beautiful song. And everybody that is a part of it, that I've spoken to, unfortunately I haven't been in the studio yet, they all say what a moving, warm, wonderful song this is. And that's, you can't make this stuff up. This is rock and roll history. Last time something like this was done, to the best of my knowledge, was We Are the World. To have this many artists involved with a single song for a single cause. And it's pretty amazing.
That's great. And just for the end, do you have any funny stories or about maybe the cold calls or strange characters you've been dealing with, because it is rock and roll?
I got to think on that one.
Okay.
I don't. No, not really. Only because when I called them, it was such a serious note for me that the tone of the call was very serious. I'm very passionate about this show. I'm very passionate about St. Jude's. And so they saw that, they recognized that, and they responded in kind. And so that's when the connection was made. There are certain artists here that are my heroes. I mean, all of them are my heroes. But to be in the same room with Mark Farner, and now his wife, who's an angel in disguise, or Lou Gramm. I mean, these are people that have truly created the soundtrack of our lives. Their songs played when I had my first kiss, when I got laid for the first time, when my sister died, when my son was born. These life events, everybody has a song, and they created it. And I'm just very touched that they're there. Please understand too that getting the artist wasn't just me. There are people like Mike Marks from Illinois who got me people. Kathy St. George, the Playboy Playmates, and so she worked her butt off for this show, and she should be recognized for that. The staff that I have, Kristen Hederman, Denise Culp, without them, without them, John Graziano. I'm just a guy with an idea, and I'm smart enough to know to surround myself with people smarter than myself. And that's what I've done. I'm just a guy with an idea. Everybody else made it happen.
Great. And can you talk a little bit about the show tonight? Because we're covering that too.
The show tonight is, I don't know if you'll ever see anything like this again. I mean, it's going to be 6 hours of jam. I mean, you're talking about having Danny Seraphin, Dick Wagner, Lee Sklar, Mark Farner, all jamming for 30 minutes, as I understand. And then I think, unless it's changed, Mickey Free and Jean Bouloir, they're all going to do a Hendrix song, and it's just, the band London is going to play. Artemis Pyle is going to do a set of Skinner. Black Oak, Arkansas is here. I mean, Jim Dandy. So it's an amazing event. I don't know, when was the last time you went to a concert that lasted 6 hours? When was the last time you went to a concert that had Hall of Famers in it? When was the last time you went to a concert that when they were done, you can walk up to them and say, hey, that was great, you know, and talk to them and talk story and have dinner. I did that once. I paid through the nose to have that happen. This is $20.